Okay guys, let's continue our inventory work and start scripting some code so that we can drag icons around and have them snap into one box or another. So on my icon, I need some code to control it. And I'm just going to write icon here, and it's going to prompt me for a new script because there is no such component. Create an add. And a couple seconds later, my icon has some code. Open that up. And scripting for this system is a little different for a variety of reasons. The UI system is relatively new in Unity. So I feel like we have to write dot Unity events or something like that to enable the right library. Let's see, some of the things that we'll need. We'll certainly need dot UI. And then we will need using Unity Engine dot, is it called event systems? There it is. So we're going to need to enable a few different libraries. And we're going to have to implement important interfaces. Probably the most important interface for the icon is the iDrag handler. And that interface gives you access to a callback method that you have to implement. You can just tell Unity to implement it. They'll give you some subcode. I'm going to put it way down here. I'm going to erase update. We won't be using it. I'll keep start around for posterity. And good news is to make something draggable is incredibly easy. If you have an onDrag method, all you have to say is the icon's position should be equal to the event data dot position, which is a vector2 which positions the mouse in 2D space on that canvas. So really easy code there. Kudos to Unity for putting that together. You'll find tons of examples online of extremely complicated events, but right now I can already drag this icon. And you see he's above all the boxes except box 10 and 11. Take a look at where he is in the hierarchy, right? Well, you can imagine if this icon happened to be parked way up here and we play our little game here, drag this around, he's falling behind all those boxes. Furthermore, if you let him go, he in no way snaps to anything. He's way out of whack. Okay, so we're gonna have to fix a variety of these issues. Here we go. One, the parenting issue is kind of confusing. Parenting is controlled by the transform component. So this transform component of the icon thinks right now that the first box is its parent. To fix that, we need to use the transform.setParent function, and we need to set the parent so that while we're dragging the icon, the icon is just after all the boxes. In fact, I would like the icon to be after the inventory altogether. So if I put the icon down here after inventory, then when we drag it, we're totally safe. So that's the goal. Icon will start in some box while I'm dragging it. It'll be a child of canvas after inventory. To figure out when I start dragging it, I need to implement the iBegin drag handler. Quick fix, implement interface. I'll put this one above that. And it's simple enough. I want to make it a child of the canvas. To do that, I need a handle to the canvas transform. I'll create a variable of type transform called canvas transform. And I'm going to say canvas transform equals GameObject.find canvas.transform. Remember, if you rename your game objects, you got to change this code. On the other hand, you share this code with someone else, assuming they have the same names, it automatically configures itself. All right, so in here, what do I want to do? I want to call transform.setParent, set the parent of my transform, I'm the icon, to the canvas transform. And right here, I want to say world position stays. If true, the parent relative position scale are modified such that the object keeps the same position. That's exactly what I want right now. When you begin your drag, your icon shouldn't change its location just because I've changed its parent. I want it to stay still. Here we go. Try this out. And watch carefully my hierarchy. I'm going to start dragging this guy. When I do, icon went down below inventory, and now I can drag him wherever I want. Still have this problem though, that when I let him go, he stays wherever he is. So I could put him between boxes or way outside the inventory. What am I going to do there? All right, so a couple things. One, when we end our drag, so I begin drag handler was one thing, I end drag handler is another. Again, I will just add that there. What do I want to do when this happens? Well, I'd like to set the transform back to one of the parents that is in a box. And if I dragged onto a box, I want that box to become the parent. If I don't drag onto a box, I want to go back to my original box so that if someone drops me halfway across the world, my icon snaps back to where it came from. How do I know where it came from? Well, I'll create another variable up here called origParent. And I'll just inside of start say my original parent is equal to transform.parent. That sounds pretty good, but I want to do this on begin drag so that every time I start a drag, I reset my current parent. That way, if I get transferred to a different box and I begin a new drag from there later, my original parent is stored. All right, next up on in drag, I want to be deposited in the box that I'm going to, or I want to snap back to my first parent. And to do that, transform.setParent, original parent. And then here I want false. And what false does, I talked to you about this earlier, this controls whether or not we stay still or snap to the new parent's dictated location relative to its position. And now I want to snap back. This code handles the situation where we failed to find new parent. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, so now if I drag this way over to here, I let go, it snaps back. Great. If I drag it onto one of these new boxes, I've not implemented reparenting to a new box yet. It's going to be a little tricky. One, the box is going to need a script that can kind of capture these drop events. I'm going to call this script box. We could really call it inventory box, INV box. And then in here, I have to capture an event that says something was just dropped on me. And believe it or not, they have that ready to go under iDrop handler something something. Anyways, before you get any nice autocompletes, you need to include the right set of libraries or packages or whatever these people call it. iDrop handler, quick fix, implement interface. I want this below start just because that's how I like to organize my code. Let's see, and what do I want to do in here? I basically want to say, hey, I'm your new father. It's literally right out of Star Wars. Here we go. If something was dropped on me, I want to become its parent. What was dropped? Well, it's going to be in the event data variable right here. And I think it goes like this. I'm going to call this transform the dropped icon. And it's going to be event data dot, is it? The object that is currently being dragged. Perfect, pointer drag, dot transform. All right, and what do I want this dropped icon to be? I want the dropped icon's parent to be me. So that's just the variable transform. And I want, again, to use false here to basically say you snap to your new position dictated by the parenting scheme. Let's remember that an inventory box, no matter which one it is, has this little grid layout group that is centering whatever its child is. So if I hit play now, I'm going to be close to successful, but I'm going to have 2 bugs. So it's not quite working. First bug is that nothing can receive a pointer event if that lightning bolt is blocking all pointer events, because it is basically doing a raycast block. The heck did I just say? All right, check it out. This little flag right here, raycast target, basically means intercept what the mouse is doing. And we want that on at the beginning so that the mouse and this icon can get picked up and the drag can begin. But after that, I want it off so that any box I happen to be over is now aware of the mouse. And then once I drop it, I want to turn it back on so that the next time the mouse comes over my lightning bolt, it's being monitored by the lightning bolt. So here we go. On begin drag, I like all this, but there's this component called image, and there's this raycast target thing that I have to disable. Get component of type image dot raycast target equals false. At the very end of my drag, actually I'm going to put this right here, equals true. And then I alluded to the second bug here. I wrote only set back to the original parent if we failed to find a new parent. Well, how do I check to see if I failed to find a new parent? Simple enough. If my current parent is equal to this canvas transform, that's what I set as a parent when I start my drag, then I failed to find a new parent. No one adopted me. Okay. On the other hand, if the inventory box saw me get dropped, it would become my parent, and I would no longer have the canvas as my parent. See how we're doing. All right, little bug. We'll fix that up real quick. Okay guys, my bug is pretty simple, although it took me a little while to find, and that is I added my inventory box script to the first box, but not the other ones. If I was working with prefabs, I'd have been immediately happy. But anyways, I'm going to drag this over here so that all the boxes have the inventory box script. And now when I hit play, I can drag my lightning bolt correctly from one box to another. If I'm way off base, it snaps back. If I go halfway between two, it picks the closer one. And we're happy. I've got the drop-on box print going on right now, part of the debugging effort. I'm going to remove that really quickly. And with that, I am done.